All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome back to the show the Policy Director for the National Foundation for Gun Rights, Miss Hannah Hill. Thank you for joining us again.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on the show, and it's my understanding that there's some pro-gun stuff going on in the Supreme Court right now, and our viewers would like to know what that is.
So recently the Supreme Court held oral arguments in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. That is the first major gun case that the Supreme Court has taken in over 10 years. So this is a huge deal, and we all are hoping for an awful lot from this ruling. It's interesting. You can't really read a whole lot into oral arguments, but there were several really encouraging signs from this. In the first place, I would say it was clear that the justices know that the right to bear arms is a constitutional right. And that's not something that we always necessarily assume they know.
Seems simple enough, but...
Right. Well, but even Justice Roberts sounded downright pro-gun at times.
Wow.
Right, exactly.
Is the world coming to?
I know. You felt like you were in the twilight zone there for a minute.
Right.
So, there was a lot of discussion as well of, gun-free zones, safe spaces, that type of thing. Just what is allowed if you can, if a state or local government can limit the right to bear arms, just how far does that go? It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. Another thing that seems like is pretty clear is that the justices are looking at not just ruling on the New York concealed carry law, which is extremely restrictive and basically means that ordinary citizens don't have the right to bear arms at all. They're also looking at redefining the standard by which they judge whether or not gun control measures are constitutional at all.
Wow.
Which, if they do that, and that is one of the things that seems to be that they're thinking about based on the lines of questioning. If they do that, that's going to completely change the landscape for Second Amendment litigation.
Wow.
So this could be huge. They could completely strike down carry laws all over the country, which would be great for us.
Yeah.
They could give us a really, really bad ruling, which would be great for the other side. Or there are a couple of middle-of-the-road options, and that's kind of what I'm worried about at this point.
Sure.
Something that gives us some stuff, but also gives the other side some stuff. Some gains for gun rights, but great big loopholes that you can drive a truck through.
Yeah.
Or they could even go really, really narrow with it and say, we're going to rule only on the New York law, but we're not going to give you any gains on the underlying issues.
Gotcha.
All right.
So we won't know until they rule, and we're kind of looking for the ruling at the end of the term, which is going to be in June. So
We got to wait till June.
They tend to save the really, really big rulings to the end of the term.
I mean, you think reading into this, it should be about a 5-minute discussion, strike down all the restrictive carry laws and move on.
Right.
What's next? But we got to wait till June. This is whack, but okay.
Yeah, so shifting gears here, we have some news of the day regarding the Rittenhouse case. Hannah, can you give us an update on that?
Sure. So Kyle Rittenhouse's self-defense trial is actually happening as we speak. This has been something we've been waiting on for over a year. His case was one of the first ones we took at the foundation after I started. And we were able to raise over $50,000 for his legal defense and for the assistance of his family. So his trial has been going for over the past week. And it's going really, really well for the defense. In fact, if you don't mind, let's look at a clip from a couple of days ago. This is while the defense was cross-examining one of the prosecution's star witnesses.
When you were standing 3 to 5 feet from him with your arms up in the air, he never fired, right?
Correct.
It wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced on him, with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him, that he fired, right?
Correct.
How about them apples?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was their star witness.
That was their star witness.
Their whole case hinging on this guy sticking to their story.
And that was probably the moment that made the news. But the rest of the the trial has pretty much gone in that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Their case has imploded. I've heard it said that they didn't prepare well, but my dad used to say you can't get blood out of a turnip.
Those who ain't, and those who are knee-high on a grasshopper. Which type ain't you ain't?
And if the facts aren't there, all the preparation in the world's not going to help you.
Right.
That's true.
And-
When you have like consistent footage of the entire ordeal showing this kid acting in self-defense with kind of better discipline than maybe I could have been expected to have as a U.S. Marine at his age. Like,
Right.
it's amazing.
And here's the thing, they could have known that from day one. If
Watch
anyone
the video.
could have known that from day one, because this case is rare in the fact of how much video evidence was
Yeah.
available from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Before we took that case, we watched it all, because obviously the Second Amendment only protects self-defense, right?
Yep.
So before we were going to step in, we had to make sure it was self-defense. And it was very clear from what was available, and that's the only reason that we stepped in.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of criticism from that. We got threatened with deplatforming. We got a lot of pushback. But the fact is, if you listen to where the evidence is taking you instead of the narrative that the woke media and the prosecutor and the mob, they're really mad because he dared to push back instead of just letting them beat him up
Right.
Yeah.
or
It was-
shoot him or
it was
whatever.
Awesome to see the foundation under your leadership kind of stare down cancel culture and stick to our guns and
And
do what
honestly,
was right.
We've got the best members in the world. I mean, they just
Absolutely.
stepped up to the plate. I think we all kind of saw ourselves. If we were in that situation and we had to defend ourselves from all the craziness that was happening with all of that unrest and the rioting, we would do it in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
So we're very grateful that our members were listening to that instead of to
Yeah.
the woke media.
Yeah, they really stepped up.
Yeah. So, yeah, just to play on that, go visit the link down in the description. We have a link to our foundation. Go help them out. Go help Hannah out.
Please do.
You know, anything helps. And, she goes to bat for gun owners in the courts. We got a great network of legal attorneys and everything. So, go check them out.
Yeah, and thanks, Hannah, for joining us on the show. We hope to have you back soon with some good news out of both of these cases.
Here's hoping. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.